Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of the Coal Scene. We're very excited about today's program and we hope that you find it enlightening as well. We earlier this week participated in an unprecedented, one-of-a-kind dedication of a new military facility here in West Virginia. A facility that will be soon called Camp West Virginia. This facility and national response operation has been constructed on a reclaimed mine site, and it's been done in partnership with the U.S. National Guard, the state's coal industry, Pardee Land Company, the Tyler Morgan Coal Company, and many branches of state government that collectively have put the planning into this facility, and just this week it's now a reality here in West Virginia. We're going to show highlights of the press conference and some of the unique features of this military response center.
Good morning. My name is Keith Burdett. I'm the Secretary of Commerce for the state of West Virginia, and I am here this morning to, first of all, just welcome everyone to this event. This is a unique event as it relates to economic development in the state of West Virginia, but it is no less important than the major private commercial announcements that you hear across the state all the time. This is about jobs. It's also about the fortunes and futures of our troops, our National Guardsmen here in West Virginia, and what they've been able to do. We're incredibly proud that this is the first, I think, of several significant announcements in which West Virginia has been able to partner with General Tackett before, General Hoyer now, and the National Guard to utilize the resources of West Virginia to expand the opportunities for national defense here in West Virginia. And we're so proud that you could be here today to share this event with us. My real role this morning is to introduce the next speaker. And his time here is brief, and so I wanted to make sure we got started this morning so that he could have a few minutes to talk with you. The next gentleman, I've known the next speaker for an awful long time, probably 2/3 of my life, 2/3 of his life. He has served this state in so many capacities, but most recently he has served this state in an exemplary fashion as the governor of the state of West Virginia. When he took this job, I can tell you there were many people worried about what happens post Governor Manchin, what kind of transition there might be, what was the future of the state under these kind of unique circumstances. Governor Tomlin has made it seamless. He has put enormous pressure, I might add, and pressure that we appreciate on all of us to look for opportunities to create jobs and investments in West Virginia, to utilize the skills and talents of the citizens of our state. And I can tell you, he keeps close tabs on us. So it has been an honor. It has been an honor. It has been a privilege to work for him because I know deep down in his heart where that he is so passionate about the future of this state. And because of that, it is my privilege to introduce to you the governor of the state of West Virginia, Earl Ray Tomlin.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Keith. It's indeed my honor to be here today, and I'm here with great pride to join you today at the dedication of this innovative training program and facility. The National Guard holds a place of high esteem here in the Mountain State. Time and time again, when called upon, the men and women of the Guard never hesitate when their state or their country needs them. The consistency and efficiency of the National Guardsmen stationed in West Virginia has earned them the respect of the citizens of our state. Yet there is far more to the West Virginia National Guard than their quick and reliable response when needed. The training program that we're dedicating today is yet another example of how West Virginia's National Guard members provide outstanding service to their country. In a few moments, General Tackett and General Hoyer will share with you the history of this program and the important role that it will play in improving the safety of our troops. But I want to take a moment to impress upon you the kind of innovation and collaboration that occurred that brought this facility from an idea to a reality, and to understand the far-reaching implications of this training facility. This range will allow members from all branches of our military the opportunity to come to West Virginia to engage in training that may well save their lives during combat missions. While that is the reason enough for West Virginia to become home for this program, there are other benefits to having this facility here. The West Virginia National Guard continues to provide solutions to key gaps in our nation's military structure. During this time of economic constraints and budget cuts in Washington, our National Guard has proven time and time again that there are missions that they can do better and more cost-effectively. In addition, by having to fill these gaps, the West Virginia National Guard is bringing jobs and economic opportunities to our state. This training facility has already brought jobs to the area, and as more soldiers participate in the training, it is expected that the economic impact will continue to grow.
I can tell you that we as the coal industry and the Coal Association are so proud to be part of what we consider to be a very special day. Now, this has been a long time in coming, but it's got a real long future in front of it. It's a future that's going to help secure America and protect the lives of our young soldiers and Marines, like the ones that we see here today, many of who have driven these vehicles on the battlefields across this world. The project is special because it shows how modern, professional, well-planned surface mining can be coordinated with the security missions of the National Guard, the Department of Defense, and all of our Homeland Security agencies to give our troops real-life training that will help save their lives when they do, in fact, get to the battlefield. These MRAP vehicles that you see here, and it's mine-resistant, ambush-protected, is what MRAP I learned from Gino. He taught me the acronyms. But these things are amazing. And the training course up on the mountain here is innovative, and it's very focused. And it's designed to make our soldiers the best they can be, no matter where they may be deployed. Now, this today is the first of many things that are planned for this property. And they will all lend themselves to training for the National Guard and for troops from across this country. And it's exciting because it would not have been possible without the foresight and the dedication and the absolute commitment of 4 of the gentlemen on this stage. First of all, it's Andrew Jordan with Tyler Morgan, and Warren Hilton with Tyler Morgan, and Jeff Allen, who is the Senior Vice President of Pardee Resources. These gentlemen bought in from the very first mention of this project, and they knew that it could happen on this property with proper planning and very focused post-mining land use. They knew that it was going to make America a safer place and help save the lives of our young troops. And they knew that they collectively could do it, and they did, in fact, make it happen. So I ask you to give these 3 gentlemen a hand for the dedication that they've caused this project to come around. And the 4th individual that I mentioned is the man who knew what our troops needed. He knew our young men and women couldn't be properly trained to drive these MRAP vehicles, these huge vehicles that have such a high center of gravity on flat parking lots in Indiana and in the western United States, and then send them to the terrible, challenging terrain of Afghanistan and Iraq and expect them to survive. He wanted to change all of that, and he did. Ladies and gentlemen, the visionary leader who always thinks more about the troops than he does himself, the father of Fort West Virginia, our former Adjutant General, Alan Tackett.
Thank you very much. You know, I want to thank everyone for coming out today. Congressman Ray Hall, Congress-Lady Capito, and especially these three gentlemen over here to the left. It's been about a 8.5, 9-year journey to get to where we're at today. Nothing good ever comes easy, and we put together a long time ago what we call Fort West Virginia. It was an idea of bringing training ranges and military stuff to the state of West Virginia. We have no bases, air bases or Army bases or any kind of base, active duty wise, in the state of West Virginia. The only way that we can bring defense dollars to the state is through the National Guard. So we just drew a circle around the state of West Virginia and we called it Fort West Virginia. And we met with the coal mine economic development community and the Office of Coalfield Community Development, signed an MOU, and then we started meeting with the Jeff Allen from Pardee Resources and Andrew Jordan and Virgil Hilton, who were going to mine this site. And I meant Warren, pardon me. And the rest is history. I mean, it just took a long time to get the mining process far enough along and to get the Department of Environmental Protection on board and everybody, all the lawyers signing off to make this stuff happen. And now we have our first range, the Advanced Mobility Training Area. We also just recently signed an agreement with FOLA and Consol on their operations there in Clay, Canoa, and Fayette, where the Air Guard now uses that as a drop zone. We helped fund some of the runway improvements at Logan to where we now can have an air assault landing strip. Right across from the Logan Airport is another piece of land that we're going to have 1,100 meters by 1,100 meters that will give us an AWODS drop zone. And if you look at this map down in front, I always said West Virginia was the center of the universe. And if you look, we're the center, and if you draw a circle around that, of 55 to 60% of all the population of the entire country on the East Coast. And with the mountaintop removal mining in the state of West Virginia, we can work with the coal companies and the coal operators to make sure that we build ranges at no expense to the government and provide the kind of training that soldiers need to go to war. And this is a win-win for everybody. Utilizing the mountaintop removal sites and put them to the design of the ranges saves the government money and brings people to the state of West Virginia to train and operate. We're extremely proud that this endeavor has finally gotten legs and got off the ground and gotten started. And it's only one of many, many more that will take place in the years to come. And the man who took my place will be there to see that take place and to make more and more happen. And I'm extremely proud of the work he's done since I left, and I know the job that he will continue to do in the years to come. He believes in the same concept that I always believed in, and that soldiers come first. And we want to do everything that we can to make sure that soldiers go to war, come back home to their families safe and sound. And these type of ranges built on coal mine land can help America fight this battle in Afghanistan and our wars in the future. And I want to personally thank the landowners and the mine operators for all of their support and help. What great partners that we've had. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to work with these fine people. And the Coal Association, the DEP, everybody's worked hard to make this vision of Fort West Virginia come about. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the new Adjutant General of the state of West Virginia, a man I'm extremely proud of, and who is doing an outstanding job for the state of West Virginia, Major General James Hoyer.
Thank you.
bad part for me about having General Tackett be the MC is he's already used the fact that I've got him working on these additional projects to explain to people why his golf game hadn't gotten any better in retirement. And I told somebody the other day who was giving me a hard time about that, I said his golf game was bad and has always been bad, and it's not going to get any better with practice, so I'm just keeping him busy doing something else. But I want to talk a little bit more about Fort West Virginia and that concept that I had the privilege to help General Tackett be one of the architects of, and it's about allowing men and women in West Virginia to live here, raise their families, and be a part of the national mission. Whether it's the national security mission and fighting our wars overseas, or whether it's the homeland security mission and protecting people here and responding to natural disasters when we need to. And it's also about cost-effective solutions to national security in a time when our nation needs to reduce costs but can't afford to reduce our national defense capability. And the example you have behind you of the tunnel complex, abandoned highway tunnel turned into a state-of-the-art training range used by people from across the world and particularly across the United States. I'm proud to say that first responders from New York City who responded to World Trade Center train in this facility. It's about National Guardsmen who are working for the Department of Homeland Security, protecting assets across this nation, but still being able to live here and raise their families here. And it's about partnering with private sector companies and creating opportunities that reduce cost, but more importantly, save soldiers' lives. And that's what we're all about. That's what we're going to continue to be about. This project brings realistic training opportunities, and as was mentioned earlier, in 2009 when our battalion, our SF battalion, deployed to Afghanistan on their third rotation overseas since 9/11, they got MRAPs about 2 weeks before going into theater. And the training that they had on those MRAPs was training that was good training provided under the circumstances that were available, but they were training on flat ground and they were going into the mountains of Afghanistan. And General Tackett and I decided that was unacceptable, and that's when we embarked upon this process for this particular training facility. I want to take the opportunity to thank Jeff, Andrew, and Warren. I want to thank, we have representatives from Azimuth Corporation who run the tunnel facility for us. We have representatives and a lot of good Americans from BAE who are here, who are providing this MRAP specific training. A lot of these folks are, most all of them that I've met are veterans who have come back to work and do this training to help keep other service members alive in the future. And I've got a couple people I want to point out in particular, and Charlie, you're not going to get off easy, my friend, so you need to step up. Charlie Cleon, Matt, come up front here. Okay, these three guys from our Special Forces Battalion are the guys who've really done the grunt work to make this thing go. And they know the value of MRAPs because they've deployed, and Charlie in particular knows the value of MRAPs because Charlie's standing here today because an MRAP saved his life. So this is the kind of capability we got in the National Guard. Working with our active duty counterparts, we're going to try to create, along with the private sector team that we work with, opportunities to have the best trained military members that there are and give them the best opportunity to survive on the battlefield or respond to a disaster here in the United States. So thank you, guys. And finally, I want to, on behalf of all the men and women of the West Virginia National Guard, 6,500 plus, we're very fortunate among our counterparts across the United States because we've got a governor and we've got a congressional delegation that is second to none in their support of the National Guard. And Governor and our delegation are not only leading the charge to help us create these kind of opportunities, but also they're leading the charge to help us get a better voice in the Pentagon to show that the National Guard is a cost-effective asset, and properly partnered with our active duty counterparts and private industry, we can save this country money, maintain the level of national defense capability that we need, and help reduce that deficit and that overhead cost. So I thank all of you all, not only for being here today, but more importantly, for the support that you give the men and women of the National Guard day after day. And I can tell you that anytime I need to call or anytime I need access to any member of this delegation or the governor, I get it. And some of my counterparts across the country can't say that same thing. But that's why we're leading the charge, because they're leading the effort to protect us. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you for all the support to the men and women of the National Guard and all of our service members across the sector.
Thank you, Jim. Well put. You know, he's exactly right. When it comes to support from our national delegation, it's second to none when it comes to the West Virginia National Guard. You know, I can remember back in 2004, 2005, when that ugly four-letter word came out called BRAC. And the 130th Airlift Wing showed up on that BRAC. And our delegation fought hard. Everywhere we wanted them to be, they were there supporting our efforts to save the 130th Airlift Wing. And I can never, ever say enough for what our delegation was able to pull off and make happen. And thankfully, today, we still have the 130th Airlift Wing in Charleston, West Virginia, right where it belongs. And this next speaker is our congressional delegate here in the 2nd District, and she's no stranger to the coal industry or the Guard. I mean, she's always there to protect the coal industry and to help the coal industry strive, and she was there in BRAC and helped us defeat the BRAC to keep the 130th Airlift Wing. Please join me in welcoming our Congress lady, Shelley Moore Capito. Shelley.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, General Tackett. And I always think, when I think about BRAC, and he knows what I'm going to say, I think about he and Senator Byrd kicking that bill off the platform that day in the hangar up at Yeager. And it was a joint effort to save the 130th, because we in West Virginia know how valuable our National Guard is, not just to us as a state, but to us as a nation. And every day we want to say thank you for what you do. It's a commitment we know that you make to be away from your families, to make sure that the good liberties and freedoms that we enjoy in our country are preserved. I've had the opportunity to actually visit Afghanistan on several occasions in the war theater with our National Guard and our Army and the joint forces that are there through NATO. It's a tough country. And to imagine that you could drive an MRAP in a parking lot in Indiana, I'm just glad it isn't Ohio, because we know that would be disastrous, but, and then to be able to perform on that really rugged countryside. The mountains in Afghanistan are just very dramatic and dry and arid and tough. And so I'm really excited that Andrew and Warren and Jeff have joined together as good citizens and business folks, and always wanting to give back to their community. And I think this is one way that they're giving back. And I think it also demonstrates that the creativity of the private sector and the mining industry to want to partner with not only our Guard and our Department of Defense, but with others, to demonstrate that there are very viable post-mine land use opportunities here in West Virginia and across the country.
My pleasure to introduce a representative from the 3rd Congressional District, our friend Nick Joe Rahal.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, General Tackett. Thank you for the kind introduction and all that you do. General Hoyer, congratulations on succeeding General Tackett. I'm sure that you have your mission outlined for you and that you are capable of fulfilling it in every degree. I'm going to say something here that is not often said on the floor of the House of Representatives, although it should be said more often across party aisles, but I'm going to associate myself with everything the gentlelady from West Virginia said. And that I say that is not often said because not often you find Democrats associate themselves with Republicans these days, but Shelley is exactly right. This could not be a more nonpartisan event or a nonpartisan cause for which we join today. I join Governor Tomlin and Secretary of Commerce Keith Burdett and our DEP Director Randy Huffman, those from the West Virginia Coal Association, Bill Rainey, Andrew, Jeff, and my lifelong friend Warden Hilton, and I see Gary White back there, President of the Association. Thank you all for what you have done on this project, which is so important for the people of West Virginia, important for our national security, and important for jobs that have already been outlined for West Virginia as well. This new training facility for the MRAP does highlight a legacy of leadership, of vision, and the will and the determination to tackle what could be possible and turn that maybe into make it happen. And believe you me, when our coal people and our government gets together at all levels, as it has on this project, things will happen. Mountains will be moved.
And I'm my honor and pleasure to present my former boss and Governor, now the Senator of the state of West Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Joe Manchin III.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What we're doing right now is preparing our service people, basically, to be safe, to be able to understand the driving techniques that's going to be needed to keep them safe, to return home to their family. And they need to be prepared. Someone once said about preparedness, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. And it wasn't. But